Hello, everyone. Welcome to a bonus segment of the Brothers Take. My name is Chris. I'm joined once again by my brother Eric,
Hello.
and we're here to talk about the Rings of Power Season 2. Only myself and Eric of the three brothers have watched it, and given that we did a full talk on Season 1,
Hmm.
we thought it'd be fair just to kind of do our review now on Season 2 since it is all out. All 8 episodes are out if people want to go check it out if they haven't already. This will be a non-spoiler discussion because if we were to get into a spoiler discussion
We'll be
of a
here
show
forever.
that's 8 episodes, we would be here forever. And especially like we tend to get quite in depth, and we weren't doing an episode by episode basis thing. So it's really just to give our thoughts on season 2 as a whole. If people want to hear more, you can let us know, and then maybe we'll do a follow-up spoiler talk some other time. But for now, it's just our non-spoiler thoughts on Rings of Power Season 2. We want to hear from you guys too. Obviously, if you're watching YouTube, jump down in the comments. Listen to us on audio platforms such as social media, Facebook, Instagram, and X. So, what people should know about us, we are hardcore Lord of the Rings fans, in that we love the Lord of the Rings. They're our favorite movies of all time. Tolkien's
Mhm.
works are some of our favorite, like, worlds of all time. And we I think can say, and people can check out our episodes that we did on season 1 of The Rings of Power. We weren't crazy about it.
No.
Like we didn't particularly like the show. We thought there was good elements about it, like well made, looked good, but problematic in the writing, etc.
Mm.
Um, so that is to say, like we haven't talked much about season 2 because we weren't particularly excited for season 2 or for more of the show to continue. Ever. Well, actually, yeah. What made you decide to watch season 2, Eric?
I went on to Amazon Prime and I was like, oh, it's out. I should give it a watch.
I kind of had the same thing, and you know what? It was coming out every Thursday. I'd come home on a Thursday night. I want to watch something, and the next episode is there, and I'm like, Grant, throw that on.
Yeah, yeah.
I certainly had no like. I can't. I don't think after any of the episodes was I like. I cannot wait for the next one.
No.
I didn't have that thing where like you get like back in the day with Lost or like when you watch the Stranger Things, and of course with Stranger Things you could just put on the next one straight away. But those like it ends such a way where you're like, oh god, keep going. Um, I certainly didn't have that, but I also when I was watching the episodes was like, yeah, I'm kind of enjoying this. Like I was never like, oh, what the fuck? Like this one angered me less than season 1, I would say.
Now, yeah, it's same, but I do think there's an element of expectation was lowered by the first season. That
I
then we
think
were
you're
able
right.
to just go, okay, this is what the show is. Fair enough.
I
What did they
I
do right and what they did wrong?
I
Or
think
not wrong,
you're
but
I think you're bang on actually.
yeah.
I think because in the lead up to season 1 you can have a lot of expectations
Hmm.
of what it's going to be and then be, disappointed by that. And then having expectations very low, anytime to do something semi decent, you're kind of like, oh, that was actually pretty good.
Well done.
Yeah. So that's to say, uh, I think I enjoyed season 2 more than season 1.
I did as well, especially as it got closer to the finale.
Mm,
I was a bit like, okay, I feel like this show is not necessarily finding its feet, but I think the show starts to get a little bit more like um season one is your prelude
mm,
sort of thing, and by the end it's like here's the characters becoming what you know them to be.
right.
So I think see by the end of season two, I felt a little bit like, okay, it feels a little bit like we're now going to get into from now on, we're going to get into there's the characters I recognize.
Hmm.
That they're finding their feet and they're becoming the characters that from the lore of Tolkien's work. Um so I think that's could be why I preferred it, as well as by the end you're like, wow, like it is, because I think I was talking to someone in the pub a couple of weeks ago, before the weekend before we went to Legion Park actually, and he was asking what I thought about it. I was like, writing is not great, because at that time it was the
Hmm.
writing was fine, but I was like made very well, and especially by the end of it, it's like this is made really bloody well.
The
Like
production quality is crazy.
is phenomenal. Like you could, I think you were telling me that one time Ash walked in. You were
Yeah,
watching,
she
and
was
she
like,
was
"What
like,
what movie is this?" And I said, "Oh no, this is the Lord of the Rings show." And she went, "Oh, it looks like a movie." And I was like, "You're right, actually. It does.
"It
It
does
does."
absolutely." And
Yeah.
there's definitely points in this where it's like that is movie quality. Like
Hmm.
production scale, CGI, I think is
Phenomenal.
amazing, phenomenal,
Character,
absolutely.
the costumes for the most part, I think, are excellent.
Orcs are the way the orcs are
The
done,
prosthetics are great.
fantastic. Really good stuff. I think it's the first part of the season feels a bit sort of like samey with the first season,
Yeah,
whereas but like okay, and then yeah, I just think by time it was getting towards the end where they were really starting to go, and now here's what you know now coming into fruition.
yeah, yeah.
So I thought they handled that quite well.
I think some of the performances as well are particularly strong in this season. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think Elrond is excellent. The guy playing Elrond is brilliant in this season. He's uh he shows more emotion than the first season, I think. Just the whatever journey he's been on, his lack of sort of faith in this season, and then the journey that he goes on. Celebrimbor is fucking excellent. All the
He's
stuff with
very good in this.
Celebrimbor is the best thing in the show. I think,
Yeah, he
personally.
was very kind of meh in the first season. I was like,
Yeah.
this is the great Celebrimbor, and then this one's just like, yeah,
In
his journey
particular
as well.
in the latter half of the season.
Like, yeah, I think the latter half of the season really just ramps up and becomes something
Yeah.
special.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think his performance with that version of that character is really great.
Yeah.
I think that the dwarves are
Dwarves are
perfect.
great.
I think the dynamic between King Dane and son Dane the second.
Durin.
Oh, my apologies. That's it. I can't talk about this. I'm not a fan. Oh no, got the name wrong.
You meant
Sorry,
Durin,
King Durin.
King Durin,
I was
and
thinking of
Prince
Dane
Durin.
Ironfoot. Yeah, King Durin and Prince
Yeah,
Durin. I think their dynamic in this season is
really
very
strong.
really strong, and it just kind of grows as well and becomes something very
It
interesting.
becomes super interesting. I think ultimately, um,
I still think I prefer most of their stuff when they're on screen. The dwarves.
yeah, no, the dwarves are great. I
Mm.
think that season one, um, like ultimately one of my big problems with it, I think when I said in the past was like they get to the final episode, they rush the creation of rings as a finale, and it doesn't feel like a finale to the season at all. Like
Yeah.
it feels like a tacked on story, even though you're like, this is what the whole season should have been about.
Yes.
Right? So that was like the problem there. This season, although yes, they are still rushing through things, but ultimately, I mean, I mean, if you follow word for word the lore, this would be a very and like to read it is one thing. This would be a very boring show.
I think it's like the span of the Rings of Power is stretched over like 2,000 years or something. Or it's stretched over
It's
a
a
very
long
long
period of
time.
time, right? So I actually would allow in an adaptation, although yes, it feels rushed and it could be done a little bit better
Hmm.
and a little less. I think we should make this many. Um, you know, like so
I have an idea.
so that aside, I understand why they're kind of getting on with it because they're like, we need to start getting to the drama of what people want to see. Like, it needs to work as a show.
Yeah.
Um, so that aside, the rushing of it, all the stuff with the rings, as in the dwarves, the elves, all the characters who are in the rings storyline is the best stuff in the show.
Yes.
And they should absolutely stop with the other shit.
Un-
Because the stuff that sucks in the show, and still sucks, I would say the Harfoots are worse in this season than they were in season one.
yes, their story adds even less in this season than it did in the first one.
Like, I actually didn't even mind them in season. I was the one person who was like, out of the three of us, I was like, I kind of like the Harfoots. I don't mind them. And in this, I was like, get off the screen. Why are you even here? What are we doing?
Yeah.
This is terrible.
Yeah, it's just it's the
Pointless.
writing, it's the constant winks to camera in their sections. It's the
It's
who's who's this made for? Because this
Yeah,
feels
yeah,
like Netflix is trying to make a Lord of the Rings show.
right.
And then you have the stuff with the rings, which is like, this is a fan making a Lord of the Rings show. And then Numenor,
Why did you say Netflix?
because when you watch
You
their
think like
fantasy,
Netflix quality is lesser than Amazon quality, or
yeah, have you ever seen
yeah,
their
okay.
fantasy stuff? Yeah, yeah. It's quite,
Oh, okay, okay. I see what you mean now.
yeah, yeah. Their fantasy stuff. It's good, but like Amazon has shown that they do have
The
better
higher
quality,
budgets and
the
stuff, right?
higher budget quality. So it kind of feels like a fan was making the rings, like the dwarves and the elves and stuff like that,
Hmm.
right? And then the stuff with Numenor is like someone is trying to make Game of Thrones, but they
PG.
don't. PG Game of Thrones. They don't have the
Yeah,
rights to Game of Thrones. They're like, right, how do we do Game of Thrones?
yeah. I
But
100%.
unfortunately, the Numenor stuff has to be included. Not exactly the way they're doing it, but Numenor needs to be included.
Numenor needs to be included. Uh, get those characters over there. Get on with it. Let's go. Yeah, I'm like, there's an element where, and I really like Elendil. I like the actor playing
Mm.
Elendil. I think he's great. I wish he was interacting with other people more. I like, why is he over? So I'm kind of, without getting spoilers, I'm looking forward to, like, I will watch season 3 now. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's if they make it. Apparently, not a lot of people watch season 2, so they're really even though like they're putting high production into the
Mm.
show. Apparently, it's really struggling with viewership. Um, I think you're right that there's a tone difference, right? All the stuff with the rings is starting definitely to feel more like Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
There's even moments that are a little bit darker,
Mm.
like color tone wise. Like there's without getting into it, there's an elaborate kind of set piece in the kind of final couple of episodes
The
that
very
feels
awesome.
that's
There's actually a
really really
moment
impressive.
in the last episode. There's a point where they do a full long one take, and I'm still to this day, even though they could be probably really easy to do at this point, I'm still really impressed when they do one takes. And in the
Sure.
last episode, they do a one take, and it's really impressive going into the whole set piece and everything. It's very good.
Yeah. So that all that is starting to feel more like Lord of the Rings.
Mm.
The Harfoot stuff feels like Willow. To the point there's actually a character in it that's introduced in this season where I'm like, that character is straight out of Willow and is terrible. Sorry to the actor. I'm sure it's not the actor's fault.
Yeah,
Maybe the actor is very
we
talented, but
when
the
we're
character is
talking about this
terrible.
stuff being, when we talk about the Harfoots being awful, it is absolutely no disrespect against the actors. We understand that they're doing a job.
Yeah.
They're given
Oh yeah,
material
100%.
and
It's
they're
not a
doing the
personal
job.
thing.
Uh,
I don't know if it's down to the
we're not
writing.
we're not those kind of people. You know, we don't go
Yeah.
after actors.
I don't know if it's down to the writing, the costumes, the direction, or a combination of all of those things, but it's
It's a
just not
combination.
it's not working. And then yeah, as like the Numenor stuff does feel a bit like PG Game of Thrones. So
Mm.
those other two things always felt like distractions and felt tonally out of touch with, whereas all the dwarf and elf stuff and even some of the other like human stuff, like all the stuff that's going on in like core Middle Earth
Yeah.
was great. Like I actually really liked it. Got like sucked into it, and just wish the other stuff wasn't there. To be honest,
Mm.
So ultimately, I would say I preferred season 2 to season 1, and I actually, yeah, I hope to make season 3. I actually would like to watch season
I
3
I would like them to finish the show
with season 3,
because
or do you want them to? I think the plan was to do 5 seasons. Do you want them to
oh
stick to the
well,
plan, or do you want them to kind of go, maybe they should rethink and try wrap it up sooner?
no. Well, if they feel they need to do that, then fair enough. But
Mm.
as long as they handle it well, because it could get messy if they try to end it in the third season.
Yeah.
But I would like them to finish it because it'd be a pity the amount of work and effort and everything that they're putting in that it just kind of gets cancelled, and that's mainly just because of the way they tackled season 1.
Yeah, which was
We can
very poor season.
it was quite a poor season, and then now we're seeing season by the end of season 2, it's like, no, there is
Potential.
absolute potential here. This can be salvaged and fixed and can become something quite special if they keep going.
And I think as well, they need to they need to stop all the winky stuff. None of that's working. Didn't work in season 1, and it's really not working in season 2. The audience are not stupid and have already pieced together who people are long before it's ever very badly revealed. So don't stop that going forward. And then I think the I think the stuff with Sauron has picked up. Sauron as a character is becoming more interesting than maybe Sauron was initially in season 1.
Sauron was very meh in season 1, and in this one, I think, wow, like
There's some really cool stuff.
There's some really cool shit in there. He's quite a guy. It's like, you know what? I don't think I would like to get on the wrong side of him.
It's interesting because at times it feels like they're trying to get you to empathize with Sauron. And then and there's times where I kind of believe him. And then there's other times where it's like, oh, he's pure evil. Like, so I think they're doing actually kind of an interesting job with Sauron.
They're really the title of Great Deceiver.
They play into that a lot more in this season.
They play a lot more into that. Yeah. They play with that a bit more, and it's quite nice. There's especially there's a particular thing he does in it. Quite again, it's nearing the end, and it's quite a cool moment. It's quite a cool thing, thing he does. Without spoil, obviously I can't spoil it because it's not a spoiler review, but it's pretty good. I think as well,
one other kind of complaint I think I would have. I'm sure there must have been a reason for this because he really wasn't in a lot of the season. So I don't think it's a spoiler to say he's not in it much. And I think going forward, I would like to see him more, and that's Isildur. And it's not that I don't particularly love the character so far, but given how important he is in the mythology, I guess, I think I would like to see him more.
Right.
Because, at some point, he's very important.
At some point, he needs to become be up there as one of the
the fact that
characters.
He seems very much a side character, but yes, ultimately he has to become like one of the lead heroes, really.
Him and
of this time period.
Yeah,
and also, again, he's not in it much, so I don't feel it's a spoiler to say that him and Elrond have yet to establish any relationship.
Yes.
And I feel by the end of this show, if they do not establish a relationship, the show has missed something. I think Elrond and Isildur need to have a friendship before this show is over. Or there's through lines in the mythology that just won't really fall. You know what I mean? I think they need to get close. They need to get really close. So they need to start getting them closer together, I think, as they work out the next however many seasons they do.
I will admit there's one character part of the Numenor storyline.
Oh.
That I think he's doing a great job at just being a prick.
I can't wait for it. I want him to get his comeuppance. Yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah. So I think
that's the only thing that has roped me into the Numenor storyline a little bit. But for the most part, the Numenor stuff is just get out of here. It's a different show.
At the moment, it still feels quite disconnected.
Yeah.
But at least they had some interaction with Middle-earth season 1 that they can still be connected in comparison to the Harfoots. That's just so way off to the east. That's just like
the thing is, it's like
you can leave that behind, honestly.
The thing is with the Harfoots, it's like it's so obviously it's clear that the stranger is important to the mythology.
Right.
And whether we like how they're handling it or not, he has to stick around. His storyline must continue. He is and again, whether people even agree with him being there or not, He is pivotal to the mythology.
Hmm.
But they are not. They don't
No, no.
have to be there. So, yes, they found them, and yes, all that, blah, 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 blah. But if they're not working, I would find a way to get the fuck rid of them and let him carry on doing as he's doing. But anyway,
Y-
that's, you know.
Yeah. I don't like, because I think if they got more involved in the whole thing, that eventually, of course, we would hope, if it keeps going, leads to the last alliance of
Right, this
men
is
and
where we're
elves,
heading, right? This is what we're
right?
thinking. This is where we're heading.
First, they can't be there. It's the last alliance of men and elves. And secondly, they're fucking useless if
Yeah.
they were there.
Yeah, and they shouldn't be there. I do
No.
think, just to kind of end this bonus, I think the reason I want them to continue now is the big kind of set piece of this season gives even like the color tones of it, the tone of it, the like all like it felt very uh Return of the King esque, right? Certain sequences.
Hmm.
It gives me, I think there's great potential for them adapting the Battle of the Last Alliance.
Yes.
I actually think that could be something really truly epic on screen, which is ultimately all I want to see the show for. Was when they said they were going to do something in that time period, I was like, great, the Last Alliance. Here we go. That's what I want to see. And all this is all just for me a build up to that. And really they just need to they need to work on some of the writing a little bit. They need to get the characters at a point where we really care about them. And then when we get to that sequence, we'll be really invested in
Hmm.
each and every one. And yeah, shit's gonna go down. But they've obviously, without giving away too much, they've introduced more rings. They're having interesting effects on characters. All that stuff is really working for me. I'm I like that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm interested to see where the other rings go.
Yeah, I'm interested to
I
see.
think
Yeah,
the next
this.
season seems to, it's like, well, we obviously need to introduce very important characters to the mythology in the next season.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Any other final thoughts on Rings of Power season 2?
No. I think we covered it.
We liked it more than season 1.
We
That's
did
where
like more
we're
than
at.
season one, yeah.
We want to know, do other people feel the same way? Or do people prefer season 1? What are people's thoughts? Do people want to see season 3? What else do people want to see? And if you'd like to hear us go into more spoiler-filled thoughts, do let us know. And then maybe we will do another bonus where we go full spoiler, a much longer one maybe. But for now, those are our thoughts on the Rings of Power season 2. Hopefully they continue the show, and hopefully we do get to that eventual Last Alliance. Let us know your thoughts. If you watch this YouTube, jump down to the comments, share your thoughts. If you enjoyed this bonus segment, please give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, ring the notification bell for all future content. And to those who listen to us on audio platforms, you can touch base on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and X at The Brothers Take, again, to give your take on the Rings of Power Season 2. Thank you so much for checking out this bonus. We'll be back to talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.